Well, welcome back. This was supposed to be the week we turned our focus back to trade. We did not see a slew of trade deals announced. Instead, it was new tariffs. That was the story really from the White House. Matt, do you think the market was disappointed that we didn't see any major trade deals announced this week?
Well, there's no question. I mean, you just go back to last week and Wednesday and Thursday, we rallied this market, and clearly a lot of that was based upon announcements. Trump said, "Hey, we're going to be sitting here with Iowa farmers in a really good mood after what I have to say on Thursday night." Of course, that was after the market was closed, had no markets on Friday. Some traders wondered, "Hey, do we turn this weather and get a trade announcement?" Nothing good happened, and clearly the corn market just absolutely got smoked on Monday, and it was for good reason. I mean, we had no trade announcements, and then we continued to talk about tariffs. And so, the unfortunate reality right now, it appears that the administration is playing the long game, trying to get people to come to the table with better trade deals than what we currently have seen. But it certainly isn't doing any favors for the corn market. And so, I think until you get a big trade agreement like Arlan was talking about previously, if something like that happens, it certainly could tilt the tide more in the favor of the corn market moving higher. But until you get that, with weather being as good as what it is, it's just there's nothing there.
No trade deal combined with new tariffs. Arlan, 50% tariff is what the Trump administration is talking about on Brazil. What impact could that have on the markets?
Well, the biggest thing is going to be on beef. We already have a shortage of protein in America, with the cattle herd being shrinking over recent years because of the lingering drought in the western half of the country, and supplies are tight. We're just getting to the point of trying to rebuild those supplies, which holding back heifers tightens up the supply of meat even more. Cheap corn, we're feeding to record high carcass weights to try to fill the void. We're increasing imports to record levels. And oh yeah, Brazil is the primary supplier of those imports. 27% of our imports come from Brazil. In the first 5 months of the year, the latest data we have available, that's 666 million pounds. Now that's 4% of consumption. You think, well, that's not a big deal, 4%. But our problem is our demand has become inelastic in America, because we've been shifting from a starch-based diet more heavily toward a protein-based diet. A lot of protein diets out there. And so as the prices go up, we're actually increasing demand for beef and the other proteins, but we don't have the supply of it. So I think that could be a real problem going forward for the meat industry and the meat supply going forward. And we're going to have to find somewhere else to get that meat.
Well, we did see higher highs this week. New World screwworm detected less than 400 miles from the U.S. border, forcing USDA to close the southern border to cattle imports once again. I don't even want to talk about this, Matt, but if New World screwworm would be found in the U.S., that's a big if it would be, how would the market react?
Well, I mean, clearly, when we had the scare before, the market sold off substantially. I mean, you're sitting on a massive fund long, with cattle. And so, from a supply and demand standpoint, there's no question this is a really good story. It's pretty hard to beat the market up, but you start to throw something like that into the mix. And with the fund sitting on such a long position, I think that, the gates, quote unquote, wouldn't be wide enough to get out all at once. And so I think you would see a pretty massive amount of liquidation in the market. Now, one thing I would say is we've never really gotten convergence, though, and so it'd be very interesting to see how that would play out, because clearly the cash market has been on fire and futures just never have been able to catch up to it. But by all means, if you get screwworm in the US, in my opinion, you'd want to have some protection under yourself, because it could be a pretty big liquidation event in short order.
Matt Bennett, Arlan Suderman, thank you for joining us. We need to take a quick break, and then Tractor Tales is next.